Hi, I'm Wade from Thoroughbred Diesel. Today we're going to be installing an HSP air intake on our 2021 Dodge Ram with a 6.7 Cummins. HSP is really expanding on their Cummins lineup, and today we had the opportunity to get this 2021 Ram 6.7 truck in here and do a HSP air intake. So HSP, you know, with their air intake boxes, you know, they offer everything that they offer. If it's got any metal attached to it, they'll powder coat it, and then you've got a whole selection of colors that you can choose from. We went with Kingsport gray on this kit. This truck is a maroon, obviously, as you can see, but this kit is for the 19 plus Cummins trucks. Comes with your air intake box, your tube for the air intake, multi-layer silicone connection at the turbo, and then of course the oiled filter from HSP. This is a lifetime filter, cleanable. You know, don't have to swap out and go to another filter. Comes with the hardware that you need for the install. HSP really does a good job on honestly the engineering that they do of their boxes. This is you know, this box fits the filter perfectly. It's going to fit the engine compartment perfectly, and it really gives you, I mean, just a lot of, it just makes it nice to look at. When you pop the hood on the truck, just something to be proud of. So that's the price point that air intakes are. It's nice to have something that's kind of a work of art, and that's what the HSP air intake is. So that's enough about the air intake. Let's go ahead and get started with this installation. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and take our air intake off. Before we start on it, I've got my battery, my positive cable isolated underneath the covers here. So we want to go ahead and unhook the electrical connectors on the air intake box. We'll start with the mass airflow sensor, and that one's easy. You just pinch it, but the air temp sensor is a little bit different. You see on the air temp sensors on these 19 plus trucks, there's a little gray safety connector. You got to get a dull edge like my O-ring pick here and pull the clip up like so, and then I use the dull edge and push in just behind that, and that'll trip it, and then the air intake will come off. Then this actually is on a sliding tab, on a Christmas tree tab, and you can push straight back on it and it will disengage just like so. So that's got that disengaged from the box. Let me give you a tip on this. Don't just grab this box and start rocking it back and forth trying to take it out. The reason being is if once you dislodge it from the legs underneath of the box, what will happen is it will ride up against this crossbar, and you dang near can't get the box top out at that point. So I'm going to take it out piece by piece. So the first thing I do is take my 8 metric and then take our tube off. And then down to the turbo. The nice thing about these 19 plus trucks is this new turbo design doesn't have the CCV tubes in it, so you can actually just take this tube out like you could on the 2nd gen trucks and pop it right straight out. So I'll dislodge it from the box right here. Then we'll bring that horn completely out like so. So once you've got your intake tube off, I like to take the lid to the air intake box off the stock box. The reason why I'm doing that is I'm looking to be able to get access to this baffle to unhook it from the box, so bring it all out in one piece without having to tear a bunch of stuff up. So that's what we're going to do. There's 6 bolts that hold the lid down for the air intake or for the air filter here. So we're just going to go ahead and loosen those up, and then we'll come back and show you taking the lid off. We've got our 6 10 metric bolts loosened up here. They will actually stay in the cover, so you don't have to take them all the way out. So what we're going to do now is I'm holding on this this portion of the box, holding it back to the truck, and I'm just going to rock it to where I get the lid disconnected from the box, and then just go ahead and take the lid straight out. Again, you've got your crossbar up here. It kind of wants to fight you just a little bit, so you take your lid out and then go ahead and grab the panel filter out, but you can't do it one-handed, so you don't know why you even said that in the video, because it never works one-handed. Should have kept your mouth shut and just gone on to the next scene. But here we are, ta-da, and here's the filter out. Okay, so first off we're going to do is we're going to disconnect or get the resonators portion of this kind of disconnected from the box. We just push it down outside the box and we kind of get it dislodged there. and just get it working. Okay, so then we want to bring our box out or get it started out. So pull straight up on the grommets, and while you're doing that, just be aware of what's going on with that portion of it. So now we're just gonna pull straight up on our box, and keeping the resonator disconnected, and then pull your box straight out like so. You want to go through your stock box and get your little rubber isolators out of here. There's 2 down here in the bottom, then there's the one up here at the top, and to get them out you just push the small end down and out, and then you've got those. And then you want to reinstall those inside of your HSP air box, and I'll show you those points here. So HSP uses all factory mounting locations right back, so we'll just push these little rubber isolators back in. Try not to throw them across the shop. Just like so. So we're gonna go ahead and install our HSP box. It goes to these 3 mounting locations right here, and then 2 down there. And as you bring this box in, HSP has left this mouth open enough to where you can bring that scoop, resonator, whatever you want to call it, you can bring that back and just rest that inside of this box. So it really fits really, really well. So we're going to go ahead and drop our HSP box in like so. Put it on all 3 of our mounting points and just press down. And then the resonator, the way it sits, will come right in, and it'll ledge and sit right on the HSP box and fit just perfectly, just like stock. What I'm going to do here is just notice my front was up a little bit higher, so your stock box rests right in it, just like it was made that way. Okay, so we've got our stock intake lid here. Now we're going to show you moving over our map and air intake temperature sensor. So the air intake temperature sensor is directional for flow, and the arrow shows you that. So the air flow is going to the mouth of the turbo, and it can only mount one way. So these are T20 Torxes that hold it into the stock air intake. Obviously it goes into the slotted hole here. So we want our directional arrow pointed to the turbo, okay? And then this will use the two Allen headed bolts that HSP includes in their kit, and we'll snug them down. Don't over tighten them, just snug them down. Actually, I'm sorry, that is the Torx for these T20s, apologize. And what this is going to do, this is also going to orient the second MAP sensor here, or MAF sensor, MAF, is actually going to orient it out towards the wiring harness itself. So again, another T20, and we'll take it and we're going to remove it. So I suggest to put just a little bit of dielectric grease on the end of this, and I mean just a light little bit. You don't want any of it to get onto the sensor or anything. I'm talking about just a speck. And the reason that you're doing that is because on your air intake where it's powder coated, it is going to give you a little bit of resistance. So you want this sensor pointed up. So when you install it, just like so, be mindful of this O-ring. Set the stock air intake box down. I'll get centered of the frame here. We'll center that up. Once you get past the O-ring, it'll get easier, like so. And then you'll only use one of the bolts back, which will be one of the 3 metrics. And we'll tighten it down. So that's going to have your, your 2 maps connected, and you're good to go there. So this hole does not need that extra bolt put in it. I just checked to make sure it was not a through hole, so you're good to go here. So we're going to wipe this down and get this ready to install it in the truck. First thing I like to do before I put my intake tube in here, I like to cut this wiring harness loose because it's on this grid heater power wire here, and it's just got a zip tie around it. So I just real carefully, cut the zip tie just like so. But then it's got a clamp, so we can unclamp it, and then that wiring harness is going to be loose for you. And I leave I keep my hands on the clamp, because you can come back in here, put another zip tie on that, and reuse it and put it somewhere else if you want to on this intake install. All right, so what I do first is I do my boot first, and I put my bottom clamp on my boot oriented on the outside towards the block. And these stiff boots, what I like to do to put when I hang them, I start them on the top, okay, and then I'll push down, and where they're so stiff, that's just the easiest way for me to get them where I'm trying to take them. So I orient my clamp the way I want it, kind of eyeball it. The way the turbo is here, this will be kind of angled because you're trying to get everything kind of right in this area right here. And next I'll put my clamp on for the air intake tube. It's the larger of the two clamps. I'll orient it to where the bolt is. Actually, I like the bolt right there because that's kind of behind the intake, gives you a little bit better access to it. And you can turn around, move it wherever you need it to. So I'm going to leave that there. And then our intake tube, our sensors are going to be, remember, there are directional flow, so we want them to be going towards the turbo. So I'll just kind of sit this in the boot, but I won't get too carried away with my mounting because I'm going to have to make more adjustments of it, but that's what I'll do. I'll sit it inside of the air intake box like this, and then the next step that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and install our filter, and then we'll start positioning everything and getting our clamps in position and getting them ready to tighten. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and install our intake filter now. When you put your air intake filter in, you kind of want this oriented down. So, and what you're gonna be doing is, your goal here is the air intake tube enters the box right here, but your air intake boot is actually gonna be the buffer between the box and the tube. So we'll show you that as we kind of install this. It'll look better once we, or look, you'll understand it better once we get it done. So, put my air intake in, or my filter in, and I just start working on orienting my filter itself. And you want to make sure that you keep your clamp north of the filter box, like so. And then there we go. That's got it oriented right there, where you want it. And I like to have the clamp up, so we're good to go there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through, I'm going to tighten this clamp on the air filter, 5/16 or whatever you choose to use there. I'm going to go ahead and tighten down my clamp on my air filter and get my two 11 metric clamps at the turbo. I'm going to get those tightened down as well. So I'll tighten the clamp at the turbo first, 11 metric, long extension to get to it, and then 11 metric here. A little bit easier access on it. We can tighten that down as well. Actually, I can probably get that real quick here, and then we'll come back and show you the wiring harness. We've got all the clamps tightened down, so now we're going to go ahead and do our wiring harness here. So we'll hook up this first mat, push it till it clips, and then push the catch down. And then our second one, we will push it till it clips. And like I was telling you about the about this clip, we can actually reuse that. So what I'll do here, and this will bring this around to where you don't have this wiring harness just up and out like this. What I'll do is I'll reposition that right there, and I'll get myself a zip tie, and we will re-zip tie that to our clamp, such as so. I'll get a zip tie and put it right here, and we're going to come back and then we'll show you putting the lid on it. All right, our HSP kit comes with these screw-in style push pins, which are really nice for this. All right, so when you go to install this, this will go what I'm going to call south of this ridge on the air filter, and that just locks everything in. So just one more layer of really nice fitment on the HSP kit. So I'll put my two push pins in here, like so. Actually easier to tighten them down, or one of them down anyway. Okay. All right, and then our next one goes to the front here, just like so. I just put one to tighten it down. Then I put this one in, and then tighten up my last one, like so. And there you go. Voila. We have an HSP intake installed on our 21 Ram. Just kind of wipe it down here because Adam's going to get a couple parting shots for us for steals on the website. But that's it. Super easy install. Make sure you get your battery cables back on. Start the truck up. You should have no check engine lights. If you have any check engine lights, let us know, but you won't have any problems with it. So HSP install on a 21 Ram. Super easy. Really, really nice box. Dresses up these underhood scenarios now. You know, these trucks are getting more and more like this unit right here. Just kind of gives it its own flavor. So if you've got a question about this install or any HSP products, just give us a call, and we appreciate you watching.